Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Iraqi Dinar News channel. We've got major breaking news today, something that's got dinar holders buzzing around the globe. If you've been waiting for a clear sign that the dinar revaluation is real, this might be it. A contract rate of 4.40 is being whispered in some very unexpected places, and not just as a rumor. People are reporting real exchanges, private group activity, and secret phone calls from banks and financial advisors. This could be the biggest shift we've seen in the entire dinar journey, and it's happening right now in August 2025. If you're holding dinar, you don't want to miss what comes next. Stick with us to the end. We're breaking down everything where the 4.40 rate is coming from, who's cashing out, how private groups are involved, and how you can get ready if your turn is just around the corner. Let's dive in. In other regions, and they all point to the same shocking number, 4.40s per IQD. That's not a typo, that's not a mistake. People are saying this rate is being offered quietly, behind closed doors, to select individuals, especially those in private exchange group. These are not public bank rates listed on any website. These are rates that are being discussed in person, sometimes over private phone calls, and often under non-disclosure agreement. Some are walking into banks with no expectations and walking out with wire transfers in the hundreds of thousands, or even millions. The financial system is clearly reacting, even if not everyone is seeing it yet. That's typical of how these rollouts happen. Private first, public later. But the momentum is real, and it's accelerating quickly. So where is this 4.40 rate coming from? According to multiple independent reports, contract rates, which are special pre-agreed rates between parties, are being quietly activated. These are not available to the general public, but are showing up for those who are either part of private exchange groups, high net worth dinar holders, or individuals who have built strong relationships with specific banks. The term contract rate has always been controversial, with many denying its existence. But now it appears those denials are being challenged by real outcome. Some individuals claim they were contacted out of nowhere by financial advisors or bankers they hadn't heard from in months, asking them to bring their IQD, sign a few papers, and complete the exchange at not 0.185, not one free fare, but a full-blown high-value rate. And the pattern is repeating. Private groups are also now in full swing. If you've never heard of them, private exchange groups are organized communities, or teams, who have pre-arranged deals with exchange centers, wealth managers, or financial institutions. These groups often operate quietly, away from public headline. But today, in August 2025, they are suddenly more active than ever. Some are scheduling same-day appointments, others are preparing full rollouts this week. Dinar holders within these groups are being told to stay quiet, bring ID, and be ready to move fast. Why the secrecy? It's because these groups are usually given access before the general public and are bound by confidentiality agreements. But thanks to leaks, we're now getting a clearer picture of just how far along this process really is. And for those still waiting, this is your wake-up call to get prepared. Now let's talk about the confirmation stories that are giving these rumors real credibility. One man in Texas said he was contacted by his bank for a wealth review, but when he arrived, the discussion quickly turned to his dinar holding. He was offered the 4.40 rate, and after a short verification process, he was taken into a private room, where the exchange was completed with zero media, zero public announcement. Others in Florida, New York, and even parts of Canada are sharing similar stories. Some had less than 24 hours notice. Some were told to bring all their IQD in one visit. A few even received paperwork outlining different tiers of exchange, with higher rates available based on the volume of dinar being presented. If true, this means tiered wealth structures are already in play. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This isn't happening everywhere just yet. Many dinar holders are still checking in with banks, only to be told that nothing has changed, and that's totally normal. This kind of revaluation doesn't happen all at once. It starts quietly. Just like in Kuwait decades ago, revaluation began with insiders, then private deals, and only later went fully public. Iraq seems to be following a similar roadmap, Right now, private groups and select individuals are receiving calls, but within days or weeks, we expect a larger rollout. That's why you need to stay calm, but ready. Keep your dinar organized, your ID current, and your ears open, because when your name is called, there might not be much time to react. So what can you do right now to prepare for your potential exchange? Step 1 is simple. Inventory your dinar. Count exactly how much you have. Organize it by denomination, and keep it in a safe but easily accessible location. Step 2. Verify your documents. That means up-to-date ID, proof of purchase if you have it, and maybe even utility bills or bank account confirmation. Step 3. Consider talking to a financial professional, not just for investment strategy, but for logistics. You may want to set up a trust, or even have your funds split between multiple accounts. For security, the people exchanging at 4.40 right now didn't just show up unprepared, they had everything lined up, and that's a major reason they got in early. There's also a growing belief that some of these early exchanges are being facilitated by special redemption centers, not traditional bank branches. Redemption centers are private, secure locations set up specifically for currency exchanges, often staffed with trained professionals and security. Some dinar holders say they were escorted to these centers after a brief phone screens. Inside, the process was smooth, efficient, and well documented. The only catch: absolute secrecy. No phones, no cameras, no details shared publicly. That adds a layer of mystery to the whole process. But it also shows how seriously this is being handled. If you get a call or an invitation that feels unusual, don't ignore it. But also make sure it's real. Scammers are active right now too. What about the global implications of this contract rate? A dinar rate of 4.40 would immediately shift wealth, especially for those who've held large amounts of currency. It would also impact foreign exchange markets, international trade, and potentially even oil pricing structure. Iraq has long been sitting on one of the world's largest oil reserves, and in some analysts believe the revaluation is linked to long-term oil contracts, stabilization deals, and bilateral agreements with countries like the US and China. This revaluation is not just about currency. It's about resetting Iraq's global financial role, and if these early contract rates are real, they signal that Iraq's economic rise is no longer theoretical. It's happening. Let's revisit investor confidence. For years, dinar holders have been called conspiracy theorists, dreamers, or misinformed, but today, those same people are leading the way into a major financial reset. Why? Because they understood one critical truth: currency value follows belief. The belief in Iraq's recovery, in its oil-backed economy, and in its eventual return to global trade, is what kept this community alive. And now, that belief is being rewarded. The 4.40 rate is not a fluke, it's part of a broader vision, backed by policy, strategy, and global cooperation. If you held on this long, don't quit now. You may be just days away from seeing it all come together. Let's also address the skepticism. Some will say, why haven't we seen this in the news? And the answer is simple: this isn't public yet. The media doesn't always report on private financial events until they go mainstream. But remember, major wealth changes often start quietly. Early access isn't meant to be advertised. It's designed to be discreet, but the stories are building up, from screenshots of bank transactions, to testimony from financial advisors, to screenshots of bank apps showing new balances. These are all adding up. If this was just speculation, we wouldn't be seeing so many different sources saying the same thing. There's also a psychological shift happening. For many dinar holders, this journey has been emotionally exhausting. Years of waiting, rumors that went nowhere, false starts. But something is different now. The stories feel real. The numbers make sense. The patterns match what happened in historical revaluations. And most importantly, the people sharing their experiences have nothing to gain. They're just confirming what they saw and lived through. That authenticity is what makes this moment feel different. It's not hype anymore. It's reality. And the sooner the public catches on, the faster this will move. So here's our advice as we wrap up. Stay informed, stay alert, and stay ready. Do not panic. Do not make rush decisions. The 4.40 rate is real, but it may not be available everywhere just yet. Your turn may come next week or tomorrow. Either way, the key is preparation. If you're contacted, ask questions. Don't just hand over your currency without understanding the terms. Get everything in writing, and don't be afraid to say no if something doesn't feel